Ted Bundy, guilty of 28 murders, was sentenced to capital punishment by electric chair after 2 trials and 8 years of appeals, which cost the state of Florida more than $5 million. Jeffrey Dahmer, on the other hand, guilty of 15 murder charges, was sentenced to 15 life terms or 957 years in prison, which cost the state of Wisconsin an estimated $200,000. Every year, millions of taxpayers' hard-earned money is used to cover the expenses for those sentenced to capital punishment, while those that are given life in prison are for a fraction of the cost. I have done extensive research on this topic using trusted and knowledgeable sources, and we find that the significant problem of high cost for society is caused by the death penalty, which could be resolved by abolishing capital punishment. Capital punishment, also known as the death penalty, is expensive. In an article, Millions Misspent, it says that death penalty cases are much more expensive than other criminal cases and cost more than imprisonment for life with no possibility for parole. In an article published in the Loyola of Los Angeles Law Review, it reads that the costs associated with death penalty trials that took place between 1983 and 2006 averaged about $1 million more per trial than the cost of an average non-death penalty homicide trial. The expenses of capital cases impact the counties of the 29 states that are in favor of the death penalty. This means that funds are being cut from other areas within the criminal justice system, which could use this financial support. Death Penalty Information Center states that the cost of capital punishment is actually making America a lot less safe because financial and legal resources are being diverted from effective crime-fighting strategies. The Amnesty International states that spending money on the death penalty system means reducing sources from crime prevention, mental health treatment, education, rehabilitation, meaningful victim services, and drug treatment programs. Now that I have fully discussed the significant problem of capital punishment expenses, I will address the main causes of the high costs in our society caused by the capital punishment. The Death Penalty Information Center states that the death penalty is so expensive due to legal costs, pretrial costs, jury selection, trials, incarceration, and appeals. And in a study published in the American Law and Economic Association, it says cases receiving a death notice are approximately $517 more costly during the trial phase, $147,000 more costly during the penalty phase, and $201,000 more costly during the appellate phase than a capital eligible case where no death notice was filed. So on average, the death notice adds an average of about $1 million of costs over the duration of the case. So finally, I will address the solution to this problem. The U.S. Supreme Court needs to mandate a law to abolish the death penalty throughout the United States and use alternative means of punishment. In an NBC News article, it reads that the savings nationwide could shift to programs that would curb violent crimes, more police on streets, more drug rehabilitation and mental health services that affect many criminals, better child protective services to stop the abuse that many killers experience in their use. Getting rid of capital punishment system would aid in those sentenced to death row for the wrongfully convicted. According to the Time article, more innocent people on death row than estimated. Approximately 120 of the roughly 3,000 inmates on death row in America might not be guilty, while additional scores of wrongfully convicted inmates are serving life in prison after their death sentences were reduced over technical legal errors. The alternative to the death penalty information pack explains imprisonment without the possibility of parole and says, imprisonment without parole is seen by some of the most appropriate alternative sentences to the death penalty. An article published in Forbes Media, Gordon Stile lived on death row and in the general prison population after his sentence was commuted to life. Wrongfully convicted, his sentence was eventually overturned. Stidle has strong feelings about prison life, saying, If you really want to kill someone, give them life in prison without parole. It's worse than dying. This solution must be in place now, and I would like to tell you how you can be a part of solving this problem. As I have shown, high cost to our society is a significant problem caused by capital punishment expenses. I have also shown how the abolishment of the death penalty and utilizing alternative methods for the death punishment can be solve this issue. Now let me tell you how you can solve this solution. You can take action by contacting elected officials, educating others about the death penalty needs to be abolished, and by joining or donating to abolitionist groups such as the Texas Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty by visiting tcapd.org. This is a great way to stay informed on upcoming events and opportunities for advocacy by subscribing to the TCADP's contact list. The death penalty will always be controversial, but evidence shows us with the abolishment of capital punishment, our funds can instead go back into our cities to better other areas of need. Thank you.